YouTube comments from a video titled, Gen Alpha Can't Read and Teachers Are FEDUP. Part 15.
Taradinero wrote,
I thank you to all my brothers who decided not to be married. You lads are doing the great job at gene cleansing to minimize the damage done by both millennial and Gen Z parents. Edit. Jesus Christ, even the guy at 12:30 is doing this while driving distracted driving. You Americans are truly effed up. I don't know how none of you mention this because it's dangerous.
At Hopeless Edgelord wrote,
154R California. Is she wearing a MC Donald's shirt? 715 Nah Chief, it's not systemic. It's the Blame Canada song. If you blame the system or society, you then don't have to reflect and take some of the blame yourself. It's just a nebulous society's fault that my kid is dumb and can only watch TikTok or YouTube shorts, and anything more demanding causes a crash out. 19 Forget school lessons. You struggle to get them to watch a 20 to 30 minute TV show / cartoon.
At LMM 334 wrote,
I see people as blaming technology, culture, and parenting, but nobody takes a look at teaching methodology. I'm not saying those things have not changed, but of all of the factor, the way teachers teach has changed drastically, but nobody is aware beside the people in the field. There is a reason why Asia produced more excellent students than America. It is not parenting or culture. It is teaching methodology.
At Violetta Plady 3113 wrote,
My 6-year-old reads at a stage higher than required. I homeschooled her in the earlier years, mostly because we had one-on-one learning we could really focus, and she picked it up super quickly. I don't understand how parents let their kids off the rails so much. They are causing more harm.
At Worms wrote,
5 to 6. I was shocked at the idea of it being 4-year-olds, which is, when we go to school in my country, I don't know a single kid who wasn't potty trained. That's insane to even consider. I and all my friends were trained at 2, but 6?
At Deborah Lee 63 wrote,
My local elementary school has a preschool program. Entry level is 3 years, but must be potty trained. Who send a 5-year-old kid to school not potty trained unless there's a medical or delayed mental problem? The money saved on pull-ups should be goal enough. There's no amount of money you can pay me to be a teacher because of parents.
At Drop Zero Sauce wrote,
My kid's autistic and I been doing everything to get her ready for pre-K. And I went in to get paperwork started. And apparently 5-year-olds DONT know their ABCs. She can do that. And way beyond. People just don't want to deal with kids.
At Yellow Lynx wrote,
In East Asia, kids must be potty trained and vaccinated before going to schools. Vaccination teams from public health services show up in schools to give school kids the jabs. No, parents can't exempt their kids from vaccination, and homeschooling is illegal in Asia. Look at what East Asia achieved, and look at America now.
At Psychedelic Python wrote,
This video reminds me how blessed I was to be born in 1963. My mother read to me, potty trained me, taught me how to respect others and to say please and thank you, and so much more. She didn't sit in front of a TV all day and night either, which to me would be equivalent to parents being on TikTok and other social media today. Parents need to put their computer devices down and spend time with their children. They need to give their children personal attention and love, and to teach them the basics that are needed for their age. A lot of children are being neglected at the fault of their parents, and it's not fair to them.
At NDK0 wrote,
If even their own parents don't care, you shouldn't care as well. Let them fail, it's not your problem. Maybe it will be a wake-up call in the future.
At Hikari 8858 wrote,
Children that can't read, write, or do simple arithmetic at grade level should be held back until they can pass satisfactorily. Advancing them puts a burden on teachers and impede the other students' education.
At Everett 2 wrote,
Incredible. I sent my daughter to kindergarten in 2000. During the summer before, the principal gave an orientation to the parents of the new kindergarteners. He said that children should know their alphabet, read simple words, write their name and address, know their phone number, and count to at least 20 before they start kindergarten. Of course, they also had to know how to use the toilet, dress themselves, wash their hands, and get along with other people.
Ladsirstaleru. This wrote,
They don't know how to read or write, and they think that they can watch TikTok and learn things from that. Have you tried to talk to someone who is educated from TikTok? They're fucking stupid. Everything they know is wrong, and because there are so many people like this, they reinforce each other's idiocracy.
A baby Krogan wrote,
My mom taught my brothers and I to read and write before we started school. That was standard back then. I can't believe we're a first world country with a higher rate of illiteracy than people living in third world, war-torn poverty.
At the PhD Spanish wrote,
In Maryland, and now Missouri, I never heard of a single daycare, let alone kindergarten classroom, that allowed children to come in past the age of 4 without being potty trained. E.g., my daughter's daycare in Maryland made the cutoff 3. This is just 3 or 4 years ago, mind you. I don't know where these schools are, but I can't imagine they are the norm.
At Arsen Aardvark wrote,
Children are being told without words that they don't matter. Failure to legislate gun control in the face of escalating mass shootings and gun violence, the vilification of the education system by right-wing politicians, a willful ignorance of climate change by half the states in the country. Once again, because of right-wing politicians, this is the natural result of ignoring kids. As a millennial, they sometimes call us the lost generation. Seems like Gen Alpha might be the abandoned one.
At Neon Wolf 9526 wrote,
Ike gone my school was shit for me. It will always be shit, same way the previous generation fucked us YN. The trend, no to fuck 'em fuck. The teachers fuck the curriculum. Them teacher bitches don't care, they just want the job smoother.
As Zombibi Bomb wrote,
The kids who just graduated can't do simple addition. We used to learn that in the first hour of work on our first day. It's the easy job you give the new idiot. They cannot learn it, no matter how many weeks you keep trying to teach them. The reading thing has been driving me nuts since I was in kindergarten. All the other kids would need me to tell them what every note said. WTF, don't send your kid to start school without teaching it to read first. That's just annoying.
At Jazz Gaming 26 wrote,
Potty training in kindergarten? Are you kidding me? Most of us were potty trained once we learned how to walk. We as a human race should be evolving, but instead we're regressing.
At Utabasucks 860 wrote,
The crap has to be cut early in childhood. If this is not done, we will raise our kids to be stupid and incompetent people, and God knows where will this lead humanity into.
At Mr. Beer 7821 wrote,
Let's start with vaccines cause autism and many other neurological disorders. Let's try no vaccines and see if kids' brains work better. And don't reply with myths about polio and measles.
At Luxy D13 wrote,
This is bonkers. Our school district will not allow 4-year-olds into TK transitional kindergarten without being potty trained. As a matter of fact, teachers and aides are NOT allowed to do anything for them. They have to be able to do their own buttons and zippers, tie their own shoes, etc. I cannot imagine, as a parent, expecting the teacher, a kindergarten teacher at that, to help with potty training. Parent, that's your job. Stop being lazy and stop complaining when teachers refuse to do your job.
Katie's 3201 wrote.
I absolutely hated the moms who used the glad to have you as part of our village, saying to offload parental duties onto other people. It's sad, neglectful, and shows your character.
Edong 4 Darling 2025 wrote.
That generation needs to stop having kids and have the ones they'd have taken away. They need to be fined just for having sex, and getting pregnant at this point make them stop having children.
At Shalia Johnson 3452 wrote.
Bad girls make for bad wives. Bad wives make for bad mothers. Bad mothers make for bad kids. Bad kids become bad people. Bad people ruin it for everyone. Only God can help us.
Panic Rev 555 wrote.
This is what happens when you vote blue no matter who. Stop voting for globalist shills who are intentionally trying to destroy Western culture, and it will go away.
At Mr. Gnome_3239 wrote.
Most of these people should never have had kids to begin with. They stupidly believed that having children would solve their life's greatest problems / questions / challenges. Being accountable for their child was the furthest consideration from their mind when they pulled them out of non-existence.
Jenna B4R wrote.
I'm in CA, and they definitely said kids had to be potty trained before enrolling in school, even pre-K. That ladies' district is weird. In fact, I wonder if the child she's referring to isn't special needs and she's leaving that part out. Doesn't make sense to not have potty training be required, but also not have anyone able to help change the child. You can't expect anyone to be somewhere for 7 hours without relieving themselves however they normally would.
Expro 5931 wrote.
In my case, our family was living on the poverty line. However, to keep from going below that, my parents had to work overtime. By the time they got home, we'd be in our rooms playing StarCraft or would already be asleep. Could I have picked up a book? Yes, but decided not to because StarCraft. Brewers was life. The point is that it doesn't matter if it's good / bad parenting. If the kids are trash, they'd grow up to be trash, whether you read to them or not. So I am trash.
At Jason Diaz 8431 wrote.
2 words: cell phones and computers have no place in the classroom. Taught high school for 3 years. Get them out, and they will learn. Computers only in special computer class.
At Lil B85 wrote.
I am so glad I spent $15K a year for 4-star parent-aware guaranteed ready for kindergarten daycare for my son to go to kindergarten, just to do things he was already doing for 2 to 3 years also. Being in class with kids that don't know their ABCs, he has been reading above grade level since they started testing math and reading. EUT he is a handful sometimes, which has a lot to do with him being bored out of his mind.
At Emma Hardesty 4330 wrote.
Teachers cannot raise your kids. Grow up. Ignorant parenting creates stupid kids. Give them word games, books, color games, paper, crayons, paint. Walk with them around your world. Ask what they think about things they see. Spark their imagination. Show them words and handwriting. Let their imaginations develop many years before they know how to use computers. Why'd you have a child in the first place? They're future adults, that's all. Not eternally sweet bunnies. I made plenty of mistakes.
At did__her_fees wrote.
Why are teachers having to spend money out of their own pockets to buy schoolroom supplies when we spend more money on each child than any other country in the world? They steal our tax money, give it to the schools, and kids can't read. What the actual fook?
At Nelson Hooper W1V wrote.
I'm curious how many of these children are Cocomelon kids.
would be willing to bet the majority of them who don't have the capabilities of holding an attention span probably grew up on that show. Also, genuine question, what's even the point of sending your kid to kindergarten? Besides maybe learning social skills with other kids.
Abreesting 4141 wrote,
People need to get more familiar with their local libraries, especially when their kids are really young. Getting them excited to learn at age/cognition appropriate levels by going to a free event 2 to 4 times a month is priceless.
At Keytyper 4296 wrote,
Social media is like a drug for kids. It's time to regulate and /ban it. There is no real reason for Facebook or TikTok, etc. There are so many other ways to communicate. I feel like this could help with so many issues.
At End the Crazy 956 wrote,
Get kids off the screens. No computer access at home unless for an assignment. No phones whatsoever before 16. Just get them the hell away from all social media. If your kid is 12 and has their own phone and spends countless hours online unsupervised, you are a bad parent. A very bad parent.
At Objectivityiski wrote,
If you want to know why/how public education was comprised, take a read of Isaac Gottsman, The Critical Turn in Education. It explains everything. This evil man pushed this nonsense into the teachers' colleges. The second book, Destroying Discourse, is Joe Kinchelo's critical constructivist epistemology. If you don't take the time to read and understand these trash ideas in print, you won't understand the underlying problem.
At Chizevino and Wine 4560 wrote,
During my childhood, it was my mum the one who stayed at home and raised us. My father was all the time working. Still, as soon as he came home, he would put me and my sisters to bed and read a tale every night. For us, it was the best because despite not seeing Dad at home, we had a moment to share with him. And he always says it was one of his favorite things about having a family. Just reading 20 minutes before bed. Not with the aim of teachers to read, but just a moment to bond with the family. I'm just shocked with his parents complaining about having to read to their children's. Why are you having kids if you don't want to spend time with them?
At TSM's Nation wrote,
1415, damn. Dude getting worked up, taking L's from 5-year-olds? And no one has ever wanted to do school. Being forced to go somewhere makes you not want to do it. That's how it's always been.
At Friendly Forest 420 wrote,
I have had the opportunity to attend HS graduation the last 6 years' grandchildren, and I have been appalled collapse in the quality of the speeches given by the valedictorians of each class. It's been a steady slide since the COVID kids have entered high school.
At user We3EG9 versus 8Z wrote,
Teacher here. Can confirm. Am almost done with an over 3-decade career and I can't wait to bail and live out the rest of my retirement before I shuffle off this mortal coil.
Tommy Suko wrote,
This isn't an issue of education, it's an issue of parenting. People nowadays don't have the mental and emotional resources to actually deal with their children anymore, because they've always been able to outsource their parenting to others, their parents, teachers, nannies, fucking iPads. They never developed those parenting skills that are absolutely necessary going forward. They thought they could just leave the toddlers to themselves and have functional school-age kids ready when they come back.
At Daisy Bradley 1392 wrote,
Brings a whole new take on the phrase crappy kids.
Well,
It only took my 2 puppies a week or so to become potty trained to go outside to do their business. Just put a cowbell on the back door and they would ring it to go outside, and I would give them a treat when coming back inside for a job well done.
At like 90 wrote,
My Gen Alpha child was fully potty trained at age 2.
Unless you have a disabled child, they should not be in diapers at age 5. That is just neglectful. It's not hard to potty train. Also, I taught my child to read when she was 4. She reads on grade level without any issues. She'll often read books above grade level. She loves reading and reads every night. We read to her or with her every night until she turned 10. When she wants to read to herself in bed, we do still read together. She just wants to read books on her own sometimes. It does not take much. This sounds like parents not doing their job. This is wild that people would not even do these bare minimum things for their child. It honestly just feels like child neglect.
At Dias8588 wrote,
But teaching them about trans ideology is on the list? Lol, it's still a form of education, right? It is more important to a functioning society than learning to affirm delusional people.
At April Neal Pettiford BK3TF wrote,
This is a crying shame. All of this new age, gentle parenting mess is what has caused this entitled type of mentality from youth. A lot of them are lazy and weak. Asking them to do the basic skills such as paying attention and putting forth effort is causing educators to be labeled as being harsh. When teachers allow students to face the natural consequences of their actions, a lot of parents throw shade at the teachers. There are many parents who are afraid of their own kids, and there are many teachers afraid of teaching students due to the behaviors of the students. This all has to do with how this generation is engulfed with the norms of social media, broken homes, gentle parenting, no accountability, and rules that prohibit both parents and teachers from issuing consequences to poor behavior from children. Just think, a lot of these illiterate kids will be the leaders of tomorrow's world. How does that make us feel? We have a huge problem on our hands, but...
Turtle Maroon wrote,
Oh, there is so much I want to unpack here. At some point, chickens need to come home to roost, and we need to talk about who is really complicit in bringing this state of affairs into being, corporations and capitalism in general. When women entered workforce, we gradually shifted to a state where one medium-salary breadwinner can support a household to state where two are barely enough. And even as productivity went up and workforce expanded, work hours did not adjust downwards. And we expect parents to be able to cope. Fuck, I am as single and childless as they come, and I am still tired as hell a lot of time. From one job I go home and start another job, cleaning the apartment, and then another job maintaining my body, exercising. And then maybe, I get an hour or two to myself. Too tired to do anything engaging like reading. Not to mention, it is also big corporations who optimize social media for attention-grabbing brain rot and outrage. Oh, and they engineer whole genres of brain rot and advertisement targeted ESPECE towards kids, which should be fucking illegal. And school system itself has part of the blame too. Let's be honest here. It is not there to serve interests of children to help them grow and develop. It's there to prepare and condition them to be workers, even where it is contrary to their own interest and mental health. It encourages thinking and education only as far as it serves that goal of grooming obedient heliots. When I was a teenager and I first read Havel, I thought his fixation on truth as a value is kinda naive and peculiar. Only with age I really came to appreciate it, seeing authoritarian regimes like that in Russia, Hungary, and now in US arise. They are built on lies. Living in lies is traumatic. You might not see it clearly, but on some deeper level you still feel something is wrong. And this central lie of school system, that it's there to serve children and provide education, and that, Authority figures in it are somehow worthy of respect and obedience, even though, looking back, good 2/3 were just idiots and nasty personalities, is what I credit with a lot of emotional crap I had to deal with back then. By the way, I am really sorry for those teachers who are passionate and trying their best and is taking equipment. But they are still trying to function inside profoundly broken system, both school system and more widely social and economical one.
At Benjamin Chavez 9253 wrote,
Bro, my kid's almost fully potty trained. At 2 years old, they are definitely neglected. If they don't know how to go to the restroom by 5 years old, unless they have a disability, absolutely sad rue.
At Raymond Swanson U9Y wrote,
It's not hard to pay attention to your kids. Most people only work 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, with holidays and vacations to boot. So there's more than enough time to teach your own kids. More than 2/3 of our lives are spent in leisure.
At Zachary Snyder IE6CG wrote,
It's entirely on the parents. Kids have to be made to learn the basics. They don't want to, but that's what has to be done to exist in the modern world with their peers. You don't get to be your kid's best friend all the time. Go and be a parent.
At Ramia Storm 5664 wrote,
I'm Gen X. My parents never read to me. Parby. I learned in school. You're wrong. It's not the teacher's responsibility to teach reading all the way through elementary school. The potty training story doesn't relinquish this fact.
At Eric Montoya 4239 wrote,
Probably the same reason boomers, X's and millennials don't read. It takes work. I have pushed books reading on all my children, spending individual and group reading time with them. My house is filled with books on most subjects, and my 20-year-old has a library almost as large as mine, although the content is considerably different. At least she is invested in it. Parents need to do their part. I don't care if you have difficulty reading yourself. Use it as motivation for your children to do better. I am an electrician, and last week I had my 26-year-old helper label an outlet. An outlet. The man, not child, could not spell fed to save his life. I have made damn sure my kids will never be in that position.
At My 9 Teach My Joy wrote,
I struggled a lot in 1st through 4th grade, but my parents sat with me for 3 hours every night to relearn the lessons from school that day and to make sure all homework was done. I'm so thankful to them, though it was miserable at the time.
At Mr. Tater Collins wrote,
Teachers spending an inordinate amount of time complaining on social media is definitely part of the problem. They expect children to learn from them when they probably aren't all that smart. Both teacher and students spend far too much time with their faces glued to phone screens.
Escol 2402 wrote,
I had trouble reading, and my dad spent every night with me for months teaching me how to read. I can't imagine if I was a child nowadays, I would be a part of the kids who couldn't read.
At Brooke Stevens 8665 wrote,
I'd be very careful interested to see how America is doing compared to the rest of the world. I'm amazed at who is having kids, what no kind of parents they are and aren't. Why have kids? My daughter is a kindergarten teacher. She was burned out by her 2nd year. There is no accountability for anyone in this life anymore. It's crazy.
Kisukex Momoheim wrote,
I hate the push everything onto the teacher mentality some parents have now, like potty train them, buy them school supplies. If you didn't want this responsibility, then why did you have a child? You were once a child, you know what is to be expected.
At GY 2045 wrote,
This is the result of the Participation Award.
Why push and learn and strive and be better when you'll get the same result no matter what you do?
Casey Vorpal wrote,
If anybody ever wonders why the younger generations are so irresponsible, blaming everyone else for their own failures, one has to only look at public schools. The public schools usurp the job of teaching children, then fail to do it, then blame everyone else. That is the role model for the children growing up to blame everyone else too. Gen Alpha can't read because the public school system is failing them.
At Erichofer 143 wrote,
Aren't these parents that have kindergarten-age kids still crapping in their pants or wearing diapers extremely embarrassed? Aren't the kids embarrassed once they realize that most of the other kids have used a toilet since they were 3? Some of these kids are already 2 years behind because of terrible and neglectful parents.
At Astronomers 9953 wrote,
Pausing at 516 to note that when I was in first grade in the 1970s, I and a lot of my classmates slipped and called our teacher mom. It was embarrassing to realize that you'd done this, but it happened. Maybe it was just that mom was the default word we'd grown up using for requesting adult aid. I'm just saying that there are many symptoms of Gen Alpha's dysfunction, but calling their teacher's mom isn't necessarily one of them. Just saying.
At Dramat Barnes 1371 wrote,
Liberal/soft teachers pass students up to the next grade when they should fail. Lazy liberal parents expecting the state to raise their parents. Not my problem. My kids are going to have it easier because liberals can't parent.
At Gearhead 2675 wrote,
I recall hearing something about the way reading was being taught changed. Something about how the brain processes words, and someone thought it was a good idea to change the reading curriculum to reflect that. I also heard that was how adults who can already read function, and not children who are still learning. It was a while ago, and I don't remember all the details, but if they are messing up the very way kids learn how to read, that might be part of the problem, and not just parents.
At OJB 1044 wrote,
Easy answer to solve this. Not potty trained or ready to read, then into a school remedial poor reception class for a year, taught by a kindergartner. They repeat if they don't get it. By 5, the kids should have even potty trained themselves and taught themselves the alphabet via Sesame Street. By 6, I could read like a 10-year-old.
At Wendy Villa 7811 wrote,
Sucks for the kids that are being raised ready to learn because they have to put up with teachers helping these kids with things parents should be teaching them to begin with.
At 5000 CZ wrote,
It's almost like a society that refuses to assist with maternity/paternity leave, forces millennials and such to work 3 jobs to stay alive, refuses to fund childcare support programs, raising inflation and costs, practically mandatory overtimes with no pay salaried, no raises to even match inflation, and removing mental health support leads to a society that doesn't have the energy or time to raise children. And then boomers are blaming the younger generations on everything from not having enough kids to not raising them right. Yeah, no shit, children are being raised poorly when both parents are absent, forced to work 3 jobs each just to keep alive.
At Ben Morris 7276 wrote,
This is nuts. I'm a millennial, and I remember that I was already at a grade 9 reading level in grade 3. This all seems like the parents of Gen Alpha are just fucking lazy. Society is falling.
At Zippy Like Zippers wrote,
I think part of the problem is that it takes 2 incomes plus a side hustle or 2 to financially keep a household afloat. Parents can't parent as much if they're always needing to work.
Candy wrote,
It all starts at home. Parents are not doing their jobs, haven't been for a long time, but today kids have smartphones. tablets when I was a kid. I had outside only indoors when it was time to eat and sleep. And now it's been a couple generations who grew up with all this tech, and parents just let them be glued to the screen.
At Money 3598 wrote,
I am 40 and I don't have kids. But when I go hang out with people my age with kids, I can't help notice that their kids seem mentally retarded, but don't actually have a disability. They just seem to be completely neglected of being given any mental stimulus. Anytime they were fussy as babies and toddlers, they were just handed a phone or tablet to watch brain rot. Some of the kids are even second and third graders and still baby talk. There is no way I could treat a child this way. I'm afraid to have a kids because I don't trust public schools, and I wouldn't want my kids being around other kids and the parents who are ruining these kids.
At Nephew Ninja wrote,
Oh, teachers think the way they teach is perfect because they would have liked it as a kid. These kids are not us. We are from a time that is irrelevant to them. Time to think deeply about how to adapt in teaching styles. Time to change the curriculum. Some shit doesn't get used on day-to-day life. But you'll disagree because it would force you to change your own bullshit.
At Ikebeankin wrote,
I'm a college student who works as a substitute janitor at an elementary school. I hear all of the gossip from the teachers, and recently, and I mean over the last 2-ish years, it's just been about how these kids aren't learning. Period. They aren't taking anything away from class. I hope that when I have kids, I don't raise more problematic people into the world.
At Happy EJ5DB wrote,
Are parents okay with having their kid left unsupervised while the teacher takes kids into the bathroom to get changed over the course of the day, or do they expect the teacher to change kids in front of their classmates so they can supervise the 20 to 30 kids? Just wondering about the expected logistics of diaper changing by teachers while teaching the class.
At 00 Pharaoh wrote,
One schools lack time to actually teach. Maybe we should drop all of the peripheral nonsense and just teach in schools. 2 COVID taught parents how to dump their kids on tech for classes and such while they worked from home. This never went away. 3. Parents today lack responsibility. They complain about how the world owes them all the time, but don't realize they owe their kids a parent.
At Devchkoffum wrote,
Idiocracy Mike Judge, 2006. Watch it. Enjoy the humor, but then realize that's us in real life. If it doesn't bother you, then you are part of the problem.
At Astrofan wrote,
The wonders of TikTok, social media, and AI. They should be happy they're capable of putting their clothes on. They know nothing of any consequence or substance. It's all the self.
At Benjamin Katora 498 wrote,
This is what happens when the parents are incompetent and narcissistic and don't love their kids. It's not the teacher's fault. Also, this is what happened when parents stopped reading the Bible with their children every day.
The Turquoise for Eva wrote,
As a millennial, I was 12 when I potty trained my sister. Then 2 years later, I potty trained my other sister. Then at 21, I potty trained the final boss. The trick is to control the amount of drinking around bedtime. Also having potty breaks even when they don't ask. I also taught all 3 to walk. The final boss is now a team. I miss him as a baby. These Gen Z teams are not that smart. Has on his 3rd Beats headphones even though I keep telling him the best suck. You're paying for the brand. They use cheap materials. Chinese manufacturers already expose these brands. These kids are really getting that stupid. I told my mom, no more Beats. Has wasting dollars. Not in this inflation.
Ikemi 2004 wrote,
I feel like this is such an American problem. Outside America, teachers are actually respected a lot and even a form of authority. at least according to my mom who is a teacher. Most problem is that there are teachers who specifically enter the field to fulfill a sick fantasy, and because of this authority kids feel trapped. While it's good American students can see eye to eye their teachers, this respect needs to be disciplined. American children needs discipline and learn respect to their second parents, but still call them out if they try to overstep their authority.
At ZXBN 4566 wrote,
The teacher in Florida was right. Teachers with a class can only do so much. Nightly one-on-one assisted reading from a parent is also needed. If people think they shouldn't have to potty train and then teach their children to read, they are shunning basic responsibility of being parents. My mother did the 30 minutes with me, Ladybird books at bedtime, when I was 4, because she knew it was vital foundation for getting on at school, and hence, in life.
At Derek Daly 92 wrote,
How can you not be potty trained at 5? That's absurd. My oldest daughter struggles with reading at age 10. I don't know why this is maybe technology. I had a computer as a kid.
At AMB 8354 wrote,
My daughter is of Gen Alpha. She started to read at 5 and became well reader at 7. Now she's 11 and a fast reader. I guess a parent should focus on their children's development in school. Don't blame it all to teachers.
At Tamit 3434 wrote,
I worked daycare for a few years, and we quickly learned that if the child wasn't potty trained by 2.5, we were in for a series of headaches from bad parents.
At Celestial 2831 wrote,
I remember borrowing nothing but Beast Quest and Geronimo Stilton from the library for the entirety of my childhood. Questionable choices, but would explain why my English proficiency spiked to a level where I no longer needed therapy.
At UJEB 3946 wrote,
This is an issue in New Zealand too. We are getting so many 5-year-olds lacking basic school skills. It really doesn't have to be that hard. Read a book or chapter for 20 to 30 minutes a day until your child learns independence. The time in with your child will reap multiple benefits.
At NYC_Thunderflow wrote,
Just wait till these kids try and compete against the II to get a regular job. Even retail won't be an option by 2030. I'm generally grateful I somehow managed to get a cashier job at CBZ and I have a 4-year degree in computer science now.
At Kersenwaiter 4431 wrote,
The whole education system needs to be reimagined. Factory-style learning needs to be replaced by more forward-thinking innovation that focuses on individuating kids instead of age-grouped uniformity.
At David Brian Dobsart wrote,
I'm a college professor. The past couple of years, they have been getting worse and worse. I banned phones in my class, and then the students still sit on their phones and I have to stop my class to tell them to put it away. Then they act like I'm the bad guy. They are literally paying to be there and they don't want to learn. They just expect us to give them a degree when they have put forth no effort. I guess showing up is the only effort they are willing to give.
At Wowthungston wrote,
I don't recall my parents reading to me. But as soon as I started to read age 5, I was potty trained. I did not stop reading. I read anything I could get my hands on. Reading is my default mode. It would not happen to me. I would make sure my children could read, but if a parent is not scared that their child can't read, write, or do basic arithmetic, they do not understand the world. You are useless in the workplace if you cannot read. I once saw a 16-year-old mouthing through a very simple piece of text. It was embarrassing and painful to watch. What parents do not seem to understand is that being a pupil, student is the kid's job. They are at school to do the work of learning. I'm not going to be a teacher, but I would not accept being attacked over the fact that a child did not want to learn, was disruptive and dismissive of my efforts. It would also be a profound misunderstanding of me as a person to demand an apology. That would be an educational moment for the parents, and therapeutic for myself. If you were a parent like that, teach your kid how to read. How to read. You wanted the kid, now you're stuck with it. Get your ass into gear.
At John Stevens 8763 wrote,
Yeah, this unfortunately is all correct. I've taught for 25 years, and it's never been worse. I've seen such high levels of simultaneous entitlement and incompetence, it is astounding. If the public only knew how bad it really is.
At Erica Hamilton B5W wrote,
Families are retarded these days. People baby their kids too much. They can't read, can't add up, can't tell analog time, wet their pants, can't sleep in their bedroom. Kids are F-scad. Blessed to be childless.
At Monsterette D.L. Apocalypse wrote,
My kids were fully toilet trained by 3, as per doctor's recommendation. Not sure how mothers allow their children to get to that age without even bothering is beyond me.
At Philip 147 wrote,
Another thing I have noticed as a student teacher in high school is these kids don't know how to do anything on their own or answer simple questions on assignments, like they will just leave it blank. They ask questions about anything except things pertaining to their work. There is literally no effort put in by a lot of these kids.
Forecastus wrote,
When my kids were little back in the Middle Ages, a 2-year-old was expected to be potty trained, or people would wonder what was wrong with the child. Now a diaperless toddler probably elicits righteous gasps. And what is wrong with this lazy, domineering mother? I know what I prefer.
Attributes_triumphs wrote,
I totally feel the teacher at 13. My number one value is creativity, and I'd rather work in a place where I'm never allowed a second of creativity than to get it only to find there's no reception from the audience no matter what you do. I don't know what the updated phrasing for casting pearls before swine is, but it's like watching your calling and life's work die right in front of you when you realize the audience doesn't have the capacity or concern to receive anything placed in front of them.
At Melanie and Mats wrote,
The idea that kids don't want to learn can never be true. We are learning machines. What the kids are doing is learning other stuff instead, like how to use apps on phones. Our fault for letting tech bros raise our kids on slot machines.
Ajax 4311 wrote,
Mind, I've read some horror stories from the other side of the fence. One grade school teacher told off 2 of her pupils for writing in that messy scrawl, instead of writing neatly like the rest of the class. They explained to her that their parents had taught them cursive writing, so the teacher sent them to the principal's office for cursing writing. The principal had to explain to a teacher what cursive writing was. And this appears to be a common problem in the US, judging from the number of images I've seen of things written by American adults which look as though they were written by 6-year-olds. Even worse, a boy in grade school was asked by his teacher what is 1 divided by 0? He answered infinity, and the teacher insisted that he was wrong. Even worse, when his father went to the school and complained about the standard of math teaching, pointing out that any number divided by 0 is infinity, the principal insisted that he was wrong, and the teacher was right.
The Scenic Depot wrote,
It sure is a strange world today. We taught all 5 of our kids to read between ages 2 and 3. I was not going to entrust the teaching of this crucial skill to anyone else, and especially not waiting until grade school started. That was in the 20th century, before most of the current electronic distractions were everywhere. In this century, on my mail route, Almost no one under 20 knows how to write in cursive, and many of them can barely write their name if I need a signature for an item. It is not just the fact that their writing skill is incompetent. It is the fact that they waste so much time trying to do it.
Eradani wrote,
Now they wonder how immigrants are able to take their jobs. What a first world country entitlement is the right word. You work hard, you get paid hard. Simple. End of the story.